Where's all the kill streaks? Why can't I use iron sights? I don't have any perks. Wow, wow, wow. Xbox Live players is how I would review it if I was fucking gay, but I'm not. Anyway, hello and welcome to my Counter-Strike Global Offensive review. And first off, oh yeah, I got the fucking beta, motherfuckers. Don't know how, don't really care. The point is, I've got it and it's amazing. So, how this review is going to work is there's going to be three sections. Sections are going to be what is the same, what is new, and what needs changing. So, first up, of what is the same. Number one is the map layouts. Now, some things in the map have been changed, but the general layouts are all still the same. They're very tactical, just like in Counter-Strike Source. Very well made maps. I love how Valve makes maps. They always have some of the best maps I've ever seen in games. In the beta, at least, there's a couple of maps. They haven't got so many in the beta. I think the best one for the beta is actually Aztec. That map looks fucking amazing in CS:GO. Like on Source, yeah, it was alright, but the textures and stuff were a bit bland. But I think in fucking CS:GO, that's one of the best looking maps around. That and Italy and some of the other awesome maps. But anyway, that's a bit opinionated. The maps, however, like I said, still very tactical, still had the general layout. Not much has really changed in terms of the maps. Okay, number two on the list of what is the same, buying the weapons. Now, I'm so glad they kept this in. I mean, the weapon buying system is something that really makes Counter-Strike, Counter-Strike. You know, it separates it from all them other shitty games where you just run around and you spawn with the exact same weapons every time. So, buying the weapons, I'm glad they've still kept that in. Some of the weapon prices have been changed. However, I still feel that you have to plan out what you're going to buy. You know, different weapons have different damage. You have to plan your whole game style sometimes around what weapons you can and cannot purchase. Maybe you don't get the overpowered sniper rifle every time. Maybe you do. It's all down to you in this game, which I think is fucking awesome. You know, one thing they should always keep in Counter-Strike is buying the weapons, because that's one of the things that makes it what it is. Okay, number three, the difficulty. Now, another thing that makes Counter-Strike Counter-Strike is the fact that it is a difficult first-person shooter. This game is not for the faint-hearted. Now, Counter-Strike Source was fucking hard. Counter-Strike 1.6 was like even harder. Now, CSGO has kept the difficulty, but it's in a slightly different way, which I'll go into a bit later on. But after all, you still can't run around and rack up ridiculous amounts of kills without dying. Alright, this game is still based around player skill, which I think is really good. You know, I'm glad they've kept that in. I hope they keep that running. You know, CS has always been pretty difficult, and I'm glad that in CSGO it's still pretty hard. You still get fucking murked in one shot, and not every game is going to be the best game. Alright, moving on. Number four, the knife. It's still clunky, it's slow, individual weapon that requires a lot of skill and luck to use. Alright, one of the things that's pissed me off in a lot of games nowadays is that the knife is the strongest thing you have. In Counter-Strike, hell no! However, it is quite damaging, it's still really slow, and is an individual weapon. On a lot of these games now, you just push a button and you attack with your knife. In Counter-Strike, you gotta fucking switch to it. You gotta run around with it out. You can't just change back to your weapon instantly. It's a fucking really skillful weapon to use, and I'm glad that they've kept that one going especially. However, they have changed the skins of the knife, which I think is pretty cool. They've got a different looking knife for the CTs and the terrorists. For like the terrorists, it's some Rambo fucking bear killing knife. For the counter terrorists, I think it's a peacekeeper. I'm not sure. It's a type of knife that's like a tactical fucking knife. It's just the knives look different for both teams, which I think is pretty awesome, because in Counter-Strike Source they looked like identical on both sides. But anyway, okay. Moving on to the second section of this review, which is what is new? What have they changed? What have they brought to the table for Counter-Strike Global Offensive? So, number one on that list is the skins. Now, they look pretty cool. I think the change in skin was a good idea. Counter-Strike Source did change them when they moved from 1.6 to Source, but they were still like generally the same. In Counter-Strike Global Offensive, they are completely different, and I think that's really good, you know. It's a new take on things, it's a lot better. Also, one thing they have changed is you're not actually allowed to choose your skin anymore. One of the things in Counter-Strike 1.6 and Source, you were able to choose your player skin at the start of a round. In Counter-Strike Global Offensive, you can't do that. It just picks a skin for you, which I think's alright. You know, it doesn't really make much difference to me what damn skin I was anyway, but the reason that you can't choose a skin anymore is because there are different skins for different maps, which I think is pretty damn awesome. Because one thing that stood out for me in Counter-Strike Source was some of the skins didn't really fit the map designs. For example, you'd be playing on a map like CS Italy, which is like a map with lots of buildings and shit like that. You should already know this. If you're watching a fucking review for Counter-Strike Global Offensive, I'm assuming you've at least played one other Counter-Strike, but maybe not. But one of the things that really stood out for me about skins in Counter-Strike Source, you'd have a map like CS Italy, but there'd be guys in Arctic camouflage running around in it. Now that really sort of took the realism away. You know, you would not wear Arctic camouflage in the middle of a fucking town. But anyway, they've changed the skins for CSGO. I think that's really good. You know, it's a new take on things, and the fact that you can't choose them as well because there are individual skins per map, I also think is pretty good. You know, I'm not too bothered with the skins. Okay, number 2 for what's new. Weapons! That's right, new guns. So they've added a bunch of new weapons to both teams, which I think was pretty needed. If they'd had the like identical weapons from Counter-Strike Source, I think that would have made it a bit boring. But the fact is, they changed some of the weapons. They've added a Tech 9 pistol for the the terrorists, which is basically, it looks like an SMG, but it's single shot, and it's a bit crappy, but it's a fun gun to use. They've added, I think it's pronounced a Bispen SMG. That's for both teams. A MP7 and an MP9 for the counter-terrorists. There's 2 new shotguns as well, one for each team. There's a sawn-off for the terrorists, and a Mag 7, never heard one of those before, for the CTs. And there's even a new heavy machine gun, which is for both teams. Now, I like where they put in the new weapons, because they've added them in places that sort of needed new weapons. You know what I mean? Like with the shotguns, in Counter-Strike Source, you only had 2 shotguns, and you know, that kind of got a bit boring. The fact that they've added 2 new shotguns, 1 for each team, I think is really good. That was definitely a place where a change of weaponry was quite necessary. Also, the new heavy machine gun I thought was pretty awesome. You had the M249 in Counter-Strike Source. You now have, you still have the M249, and it's inaccurate as fuck, by the way. And this other weapon, I forget what the name is, but it's basically like the same. I think it has a bit more ammo. But the fact that they've added new guns in the right places is pretty fucking awesome. Alright, moving on. For what's new, number 3, the grenades. Now, they've added 2 new types of grenades. They've added a decoy grenade. I think they had something similar to this on Call of Duty, but I doubt it was as effective as the one they've added on Counter-Strike Global Offensive. But basically, the decoy grenade speaks for itself. You throw the grenade, it starts making banging noises, and it pops up on the radar as someone being there. Now, that does come in handy every now and then. I've used it a couple of times. I don't know if it actually does damage. I would assume not. But, however, you could get flashbang kills on Counter-Strike Source, so maybe, I don't know, if you're lucky, you might kill someone with a decoy grenade. I have no idea. Go wild, kids. Try and kill people with fake grenades. Alright, also, for the grenades that they've added in a Molotov for the for the terrorists. I'm going to keep fucking that up. And an incendiary grenade for the CTs. Now, I think these are pretty good. They're not particularly overpowered in terms of damage. They're basically just for hindering your enemy going into areas. They don't cover a wide area, about the same sort of area as a smoke grenade would, but they're pretty fucking cool. They're fun to use. When I saw the Molotov, I was like, it's going to be like a fucking like Left 4 Dead Molotov or something. But no, they've done really well with the design of the Molotov. It looks completely different and operates completely different to the Left 4 Dead one. You can't throw it like 500 meters like you could in that game. So yeah, I think the adding of those two flame grenades basically are pretty damn awesome. Alright, so that's all they've got for the new grenades. Okay, moving on for what's new. Number 4, the game modes. Now they've added 2 new game modes. They've added a demolition, which is basically like the bomb plant, but on smaller, more tactical maps. Now I think that's pretty fun. Also, you don't have to buy weapons on demolition. You get them by getting more kills. So every time you get a kill, you'll unlock a new weapon for the next round. Now I think that's pretty good. Also, as well, they've added an arms race, which is basically just like gun game for Counter-Strike Source. If you ever played that, basically what it does, you start with a crap weapon, and every time you get a kill, you get another gun until you've cycled through basically every weapon in the game, and whoever reaches the end first wins. And that's a pretty awesome game mode. That as well has its own personal small tactical maps. I think that's because people got a bit pissed off playing like a gun game on a massive map. Like, you need small, quite close tactical maps to be playing the gun game on. Which I think they took into account when designing the maps for those game modes. I think they've really done quite well with the map design in terms of the size and how tactical they are. So yeah, both the demolition and the what's it called? Arms race. I was about to call it fucking gun game. Are pretty damn fucking good. You know, I feel like those were good game modes to add. Alright, number 5 is the graphics. And yeah, I know, graphics don't make a game good or bad. I have to fucking say this every goddamn time, because you idiots are like, man, you talk about graphics, but graphics don't make it good or bad. Alright, I know! Okay. The graphics have definitely improved. The graphics in Counter-Strike Source were fine for its time, but definitely in Counter-Strike Source, some of the maps look pretty damn amazing. Like I was on about earlier, Aztec is probably one of the best looking maps I've ever seen in a first person shooter for a long time. Counter-Strike Global Offensive is based on the Portal 2 engine. I'm right in saying that. Don't fucking question me. Don't fucking question me anyway. And the graphics were pretty damn awesome on that. So I like how they've carried that over and kept some really awesome game graphics. They look pretty good in Counter-Strike Source. Alright. Moving on, number 6, which is the awards. Now, unlike awards in other games, these ones actually work around your achievements. I have 2 bronze awards at the moment, and the awards that you get all depend on how many achievements you get in each achievement section. So I think there's like 4 sections. There's like global, weapons, kill fucking things, and like one other, I forget what they are. But basically I think it's 25% for a bronze, like 50% for silver, and like, I don't know, 100% for gold. I'm not sure, I haven't reached gold yet. I've only got 2 bronze ones, but I think that's pretty good. It shows not necessarily what players are better, but maybe what players have played more. So when you're matchmaking and you find yourself in the middle of people that are all bronze and you're a gold, you may have a better chance. But anyway, that's completely irrelevant. The fact is, it's a lot better than some of the other games that have ridiculous awards, like you get stupid amounts of points for like 1 double kill and shit like that. Like in Medal of Honor, where they had an entire leveling system. It's like, the fuck are you on about? This isn't an MMORPG, it's a fucking first person shooter. But anyway, the awards don't actually add to anything. You don't get upgrades or perks or anything. They're just like, well, hey, you got a bunch of achievements, here's a medal! Just like the fucking Olympics, which sucks, by the way. Alright, moving on. Next section, or category, which is the third one, what needs changing. Now, this is what I want them to change before they release the full game. Number 1, weapon accuracy. Some of the weapons at the moment are severely inaccurate, especially the assault rifles. I mean, I'm not asking for them to be like too good, but maybe just a little bit better, you know? I don't mind having to shoot a bit more to try and hit my target, but if I'm unloading an entire fucking mag into the guy and still not hitting him, it does get a little bit frustrating. But one of the things in Counter-Strike Source I think was pretty good was better weapons were a lot more accurate, you know? I feel the accuracy was very well balanced in Counter-Strike Source, and I'd like them to keep it the same Counter-Strike Global Offensive. Okay, number 2, which is the damage. Now, some of these weapons take ridiculous amounts of shots to kill people. Agreed, this does make the game harder, but less realistic. Back in Counter-Strike Source, if you were good, you could make most guns kill in one hit. In CSGO, it takes a whole fucking mag sometimes. This is a bit ridiculous, especially weapons like the pump-action shotgun. In Counter-Strike Source, if you were at close range, that was a one-hit kill weapon. Maybe 2 if you were unlucky. In fucking CSGO, it's like 4. It's ridiculous. Okay, maybe just speed it up just a little bit, you know? Take a look back at Counter-Strike Source and see what weapons were good and what ones weren't, okay? Alright, moving on. For what needs changing, number 3, grenades. Now, the frag grenade is extremely underpowered. It wasn't particularly powerful in Counter-Strike Source, but at least you could get kills with it. I've lobbed around about 100 of those damn things in Counter-Strike Global Offensive and have not managed to get one single kill with a fucking frag. Alright, just tone the damage up again a little bit. It doesn't need loads, it just needs to be able to do something. You know, it's a damn frag grenade after all. Also, while we're on the subject of grenades, the flashbang. What the fuck are you doing? Alright, it was pretty effective in Counter-Strike Source, I will admit. It took about 2 to 3 seconds to gain your vision back. In this fucking Counter-Strike Global Offensive, it takes like 10 seconds. They're ridiculously effective. It's like, if you get flashed, you're guaranteed you're dead. Alright, they are too good, if you know what I'm saying. Alright, just tone it down a little bit. Reduce it back to 2 or 3 seconds like you had in Counter-Strike Source. Not 6. It's a bit fucking stupid when you get flashed and you're like, oh yeah, I'm completely dead. Luckily, no one seems to have taken up the annoying sport of team flashing, but maybe when you release a full game, you might just want to tone it down a little bit. So that's all I have for the main points of what I think needs changing, what is good, and what they've kept the same. So overall, I'm going to give this game, the beta at least, this is not the full game, remember, this is only the beta. I will be doing a review on the full game when it's been released. I would give this game a 7 out of 10. All it needs is a few adjustments here and there before they release the full game, and I'm sure it will be the 10 out of 10 Valve game that we've all been waiting for. Alright, just maybe tone up your damage with some weapons, tone up the accuracy, change some of the animations as well. There's one thing I did forget to mention. Some of the animations on the weapons, especially the dual Berettas, do look a tad derpy, if you know what I mean. Instead of them flowing like a real gun would, they're sort of just jumping up and down the air, and it looks a bit dumb. But anyway, that's just a couple of things which I'm sure we all know Valve. You know, they're good game designers. I mean, look back to some of the original Counter-Strikes. Look at Portal. Look at Hat Fortress 2. You know, they've really done well with games over the last couple of years, and I really feel like Counter-Strike Global Offensive is going to be another 10 out of 10 FPS game. Alright, well done Valve. Once again, thanks for making a real fucking FPS. You did so well with Counter-Strike Source. Just tone up CSGO just a little bit, and it should be just as awesome, and I'm sure tons of fucking people are going to play it. So, anyway, that's my review on Counter-Strike Global Offensive. Hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget, you know, do that voodoo that you do so well. I forget where that comes from, but that's an awesome quote. Alright, thanks for watching. I hope you'll be buying Counter-Strike Global Offensive. I'm sure I fucking will. Dude, I pre-ordered that shit already. Yeah, but anyway, thanks for watching. 7 out of 10 for the Global Offensive beta. I'm sure the real game is gonna be a fucking 10 out of 10. Okay, thanks, bye.